Hello footy fans, welcome to another episode of Bev's Footy Tips, and this is for round 15 of the 2022 AFL season, and I'm up and about, I'm pumped for this round because it has the potential to be the best round of footy we have seen this season. For just the fifth time in 29 years, each team in the top 8 will play each other. How about that? It doesn't get any better than that. And I'm even more excited because I'm heading to Melbourne this weekend to watch 5 games of footy. I'm super pumped to be heading over to watch some footy at both the MCG and Marvel Stadium. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get straight in to this episode of Bev's Footy Tips. Let's go! Let's begin with this week's winner of the Bev Show tipping comp for round 14. And we've got 5 winners this week because there were 5 tipsters that correctly guessed 5 out of 6 and that were 1 point off the margin. So a big congratulations to Hayden, Slatsy, Charlie Cousins, Phoenix, and the Footscray Dogs. Whoa! You beauty! Congratulations to you all, you Ripper-Dipper champions. And taking a quick look now at the overall leaderboard after 14 rounds of footy. So Minavini has the lead on top with 88 total tips. Ahead of Scotty Ez on 87 total tips. Then we've got Prout House in third, Cade Fagan in fourth. They're both on 86 total tips. And then Cats Fan is in fifth, also on 85 total tips. Hayden Burke is in sixth spot. He's also on 85 total tips. So after 14 rounds of footy, it's Minavini who has the lead on 88 tips. And here is my round 14 tipping results. I tipped Carlton over Richmond. I tipped St Kilda over Essendon. I tipped Sydney over Port Adelaide. I tipped Geelong over West Coast. I tipped my beloved Doggies over GWS in possibly the best game we've seen this season so far. And then in the final game of the round, I tipped the Gold Coast Suns over Adelaide. So not a great round, just the 3 matches correct out of 6. That brings me to a total of 80 tips. And now we move on to round 15, and we've got a full round of 9 games. Let's go. Round 15 begins on Thursday night with a top-of-the-table clash. First v second, it's Melbourne taking on the Brisbane Lions at 7:20pm at the MCG. Really looking forward to this game. You can't get any better than a top-of-the-table clash, no doubt about it. Both teams coming off the bye. Melbourne, they've lost their last 3, so they're a bit out of form. Whereas the Brisbane Lions, they won their game before the bye against St Kilda, but they were a little shaky as well. They'd lost 2 out of their last 3 before the win against St Kilda. It's going to be a good game, this one. I think it can go either way, but I'm going to tip Melbourne. If it was at the Gabba, I would have tipped the Brisbane Lions, but because it's at the MCG, I'm tipping Melbourne because the Brisbane Lions, they haven't won at the MCG since 2014. They've played 9 games since 2014 and they've lost all 9 of them. Their last game at the MCG was back in round 1 2020. They only play a couple of games at the MCG each year, although last year they didn't play a game at the MCG, probably due to COVID. But yeah, I don't like the fact that they've lost their last 9 games at the MCG, the Brisbane Lions. Although it's a big opportunity for them. If they were to win this game, then it would be a big win for them. And it would probably, if they're not already, put them as favourites to win the competition. But I'm happy to tip Melbourne in this one. And I'm going to tip them, you know what? I'm going to tip them by 20. I think they're going to make a statement. 2 Friday night matches to speak about. The first of them at Marvel Stadium. It's the Western Bulldogs taking on Hawthorn. This game getting underway at 7 o'clock, which I don't mind at all. It's definitely a lot better than the usual 7:50pm starting time that we have to put up with most Friday nights. But this game should be interesting. The Western Bulldogs, they're coming off a win against the Greater Western Sydney Giants last weekend. It was the highest scoring match of the season, a 35-goal game, 230 points between the two teams. And even though the Doggies were not great defensively, GWS were happy to take the game on, and I was really happy that the Dogs were able to match that, and they were a lot better attacking-wise, especially with the ball use and marks inside 50. So I was really happy that the Dogs were able to match the Giants when it came to the attacking aspect of the game. They're taking on a Hawthorn team who have been a bit hot and cold this season, but we know their best is competitive enough. So I'm not taking Hawthorn lightly on Friday night, but being a Dog supporter, I have to back the Doggies in. Hawthorn have had the wood over the Doggies in recent times. They've won 3 of the last 5 games, the Hawks, against the Doggies. And of course, the last time they met was round 22 last year at UTAS Stadium in Launceston. I was at that game and Hawthorn got a pretty decent win. But at Marvel, I expect the Doggies to be a little too strong. They're going to have to win most of their games in this second half of the season to make finals, you would think. The other Friday night match is at Optus Stadium, 8:40pm start time. It is the West Coast Eagles taking on Essendon. West Coast, they really took it up to Geelong last weekend, which was good to see. And they're taking on an Essendon team who produced their best performance of the season against St Kilda last Friday night, recording a 35-point win. They were superb. They were better in the air. Their pressure was a lot better, and it was overall a very good win from the Bombers. And because of that result last Friday night, I expect the Bombers to go over to Optus Stadium and get the job done and record back-to-back wins. So tipping the Bombers, they of course beat the Eagles last year at Optus Stadium in round 11 by 16 points. So expecting the Bombers to do similar stuff on Friday night. 3 Saturday matches to speak about. The first of them is an absolute ripper. It's Carlton taking on Fremantle, 5th v 3rd at Marvel Stadium, getting underway at 1:45pm. Really can't wait to watch this game live. Of course, the last time these two teams met was back in round 6, and it was the Dockers recording a 35-point win at Optus Stadium in Perth. Of course, the Blues, they are probably struggling without Jacob Wiedering right now. That is for sure. They're so vulnerable in defence at the minute. You go back to that 15-point loss last Thursday against the Tigers. They conceded 76 inside 50s, which is a huge concern. The Dockers, they're the ones to beat in this match. They're the clear favourites, but I'm going to go a bit of an upset. I'm going to go the Blues. I'm going to back them in to find a way. What I like about the Blues this season compared to previous seasons is they keep fighting. Even last Thursday night, they kept fighting. They had a chance to win the game in the late stages of the fourth quarter when they got a bit of a run on. So they keep fighting. They're undefeated at Marvel this year, so that will potentially play in their favour. Yeah, going to go an upset, going to go the Blues. Freo should be hard to beat, but I'm going to back the Blues in to find a way. They need to record a couple of wins in their next 4, or otherwise they might find themselves potentially missing out on the 8. The Saturday twilight match is also going to be a ripping contest. It is Geelong taking on Richmond. It is 4th v 6 at the MCG, 4:35pm starting time. I'm also going to this match as well. I'm going to all the games in Melbourne this weekend, so I'm really looking forward to this game as well. Geelong have won their last 4. Richmond have won 6 of their last 7. Geelong coming into this match off the back of an ugly win against the Eagles, but sometimes you just have to win that way. Richmond, of course, recorded a 15-point win over Carlton last weekend. Tough game to tip this one. I'm going to tip the Tigers. I just feel like they're in better form than the Cats right now, and I also feel more confident backing them over Geelong, who are coming off a trip to Perth. They're slightly older. Yeah, that might not even be a legitimate factor, but yeah, I'm going to tip the Tigers. Just feel like they're in the better form, although Geelong have won the last 2 against the Tigers since the 2020 grand final loss. But tipping the Tigers in this one. And to round out a massive Saturday of footy, it's the Swans taking on St Kilda at 7:25pm at the SCG. This is 7th v 8th. And I feel like this game could go either way. I'm going to tip the Swans, though. Of course, both teams coming off losses in the previous round. But I'm going to tip the Swans just because it's at the SCG. I think if it was in Melbourne, I might have leaned towards St Kilda. But Sydney, they've got the wood over St Kilda at the SCG in recent times. In fact, the last time St Kilda won at the SCG, to my calculations, was round 11, 2006. That is a long time ago. So I have to tip the Swans on the basis of that, but I do feel like this game could go either way. And for the loser, well, they are going to be incredibly vulnerable and are going to be a massive chance to miss out on the 8. So a lot at stake in this match for both teams. 3 matches on Sunday, the first of them at Bluntstone Arena in Hobart, my neck of the woods. It's North Melbourne taking on the Adelaide Crows. This game getting underway at 1:10 p.m. Feel like this game could go either way. I think North Melbourne are a chance, especially given the fact that it's at Bluntstone Arena and it's North Melbourne's home away from home. But when you think about it, the Crows have been the better team between the two this season. So I expect the Crows to go over to Hobart, get the job done, and fly away with the win. So tipping the Crows. The mid-Sunday afternoon match looks to be a ripping match. It's Collingwood taking on the Greater Western Sydney Giants. 3:20 p.m. start time at the MCG. Of course, Collingwood have lost their last 4. They're in contention to make the 8. The Giants, they've won 2 of their last 4 matches, so they're not going too badly in the last month. This game could be a shootout because these two teams, especially Collingwood, but the Giants in recent weeks as well, like to take the game on. So we could be in for a high-scoring match in this one. But, given the games at the MCG and given the position of Collingwood, I do expect them to win the game. Of course, it's going to be interesting to see whether all this De Goey stuff and the stuff that's been happening off the field affects their performance on the field. I'm going to tip that it doesn't and that Collingwood will be able to get the job done. So, the Pies in that one. And the final game of the round is a very interesting game, actually. It's Port Adelaide taking on the Gold Coast Suns. 4:10 p.m. start time at the Adelaide Oval. Both teams are trying to get themselves into the 8. So, it's a massive game for both teams in the context of all of that. Port Adelaide, they're going okay. They've only lost a couple since they lost their first 5 games of the season. The Gold Coast Suns, they're going well as well. They've won their last 3 matches. I'd be tempted to tip the Gold Coast Suns if this game was at Metricon, but given it's at the Adelaide Oval and given Port Adelaide are coming off a win against the Swans at their home ground in the previous round, I'm probably going to tip Port Adelaide to win this, but a massive game, especially in the context of, these two teams and their prospects of making the 8. So can't wait to watch this final game of the round. So recapping my tips for round 15, I've tipped Melbourne by 20 points. I've tipped the Dogs, Essendon, Carlton, Richmond, Sydney, Adelaide, Collingwood, and Port Adelaide. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, footy fans around the world. That's another episode of Bev's Footy Tips done and dusted for round 15. What a round it's set to be. And I'm very lucky that I'm making the trip over to Melbourne to watch a handful of games this weekend. If you do see me around, make sure you say hello. We're always happy to say a big cheerio to my fans. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below your tips for the upcoming round. And don't forget to press that subscribe button. And don't forget to follow all my other social media as well. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, I've got it all. Thanks for watching, and until the next episode of Bev's Footy Tips, enjoy this massive weekend of footy, and go the Doggies! Catch you later.